7 rounds of the A-League down, and one team still unbeaten. Auckland, they have not lost a game yet. Will that change this week? We're going to find out. But before we get into the predictions, I just want to give a little bit of an update on the series. I'm not going to get guests on as frequently. It may still happen throughout the season, but just taking up a bit of time. I want to keep the videos, as up to date as I can, and with guests, I can't really do that. I can't set aside that time anymore. So it's just going to be predictions with me from now on. I'm still going to keep track of my score, but we'll see how we go from now on. Now, let's start off round 8. It's the Central Coast Mariners taking on Adelaide United. Mariners that found themselves in a bit of form again after that slow start to the season. They did it last year as well, but they're taking on Adelaide side that's undefeated so far this season, and they have looked good at times, maybe a bit lucky at some points as well. But this Mariners side, I think, is going to kick into gear now. Even though Adelaide probably had a bit of time on, that Hunter region, get themselves adjusted to the climate and everything, I just think the Mariners will be able to get the win in this one. So I'm going to go for a Mariners win, and I think I'm going to go with a decent win. I think I'm going to go with a 3-1 Mariners win in this one. Next up, the first of 4 Saturday matches as well. Let me know what you think about the 4 Saturday matches. We've got some good matchups, and it starts off with Wellington taking on MacArthur. Two teams, maybe a bit inconsistent start to the season. Wellington, they've had 2 New Zealand derbies, so that's obviously going to play a massive factor into those. These can be won or lost very, very easily, like we saw last week with Wellington going down to Auckland. MacArthur, they just haven't found their consistency so far this season. Jed Drew has returned. Maybe that can, add a bit of spark into their forward line. But I don't know, MacArthur, they feel like they're due a win, but at the same time, I think Wellington is just going to be too strong at home. I think Marco Rojas has to play a bigger part in this team going forward. Costa Barbarouses, he is on fire. Maybe an early Johnny Warren contender as well. Make sure you drop those comments in if you do agree with me with that Costa Barbarouses call. But I'm going to go for a Wellington win on this one regardless. I think I'm going to go for... I don't think they're going to concede. I think it's going to be a 2-0 Wellington win in this one. I just think that defense is going to be too strong for MacArthur. And then we move on to the second Saturday game, which is Sydney FC taking on Western United. Western United, bit of inconsistency, but probably better than a lot of people would have expected them to start this season. 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses, I believe. So, fairly okay. Like, a lot of people, including myself, had them all the way down the bottom of the ladder. So they're proving a lot of people wrong so far. And this Sydney team, they need to get their discipline sorted out. 3 red cards already so early on in the season. It's worrying signs for Sydney FC, if I'm going to be completely honest. But their front line, Wahim, Douglas Costa, Joe Lolly, even Klamala, he is looking unreal this season. And then you've still got likes of Leo Senna, Anthony Caceres in the squad as well. So this team is stacked. They just gotta maintain their discipline as well. I think that's going to be a massive thing. If they keep racking up these red cards, it could be very likely that we might see Sydney start slipping down the table. But in this one, I'm actually going to go for a bit of a shock. I'm going to go for a draw in this one. I just think Iwasuki, he loves playing in Sydney. Obviously, just seems to score every time he plays in Sydney. So I'm going to go for a draw in this one, and I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw as well. I think there's going to be a few goals in this one, so it could be a sneaky one for game of the week as well. And then we move on to Wanderers taking on Brisbane Roar. Now Brisbane, they've got to pick up a win here, really. If Ruben Zadkovich, I think, wants to keep his job, I think they've got to pick up a win against the Wanderers. But the Wanderers, it could be a chance for them to slip up as well. They're coming off the week bye. Maybe a bit of, maybe that match sharpness was lost over that week. Hopefully not. for the Wanderers' sake. But Brisbane Roar, they really need to win this. Still winless to start this season. Still just the 1 point. I mean, it's Ruben Zadkovich. Yeah, you've got to win this. I think your job is in danger if you don't win this. Um, I think the Wanderers will win though. I do think the Wanderers will win. I think, Alan Thatcher has kind of got this team starting to play the way he wants as well. So I'm going to go for a Wanderers win, and I'm going to go for a quite convincing Wanderers win. I think Raw will get on the score sheet. I think it'll be a 3-1 though. I think Wanderers will be quite convincing in this one. And Nicholas Milanovic, how good has he been this season so far? And we go to the late kick-off on Saturday. Perth Glory taking on the Jets. And once again, a team that needs a win, Perth Glory. I think they're a couple of games off breaking the all-time loss record as well. That's absolutely great. All-time record without a win. I'm pretty sure they're a couple games off that. I think they're on 17 and the record's 19. And they're coming up against the Jets, who, again, inconsistencies. It's the same story as last season with the Jets. It's just not being able to click. And those comments with Rob Stanton after the game last week, I like Rob Stanton as a coach. I think he got his words across the wrong way last week. But this Perth Glory side, do I expect them to get a win in this game? Do I expect them to get a win in any game they come up against at the moment? No. Like, I just can't see them outscoring their opponents. I don't think either team's keeping a clean sheet in this one. Two pretty poor defensive sides, if I'm going to be completely honest. So I'm going to go with a draw of this one as well. And I think this might be a bit of a dull affair. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. I don't think it's even going to be that entertaining. Neither team's really setting the world alight up top either. Like, they're not scoring that many goals. I'm going to go 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a pretty dull affair over in Perth on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we've got Auckland playing their first, I guess, kind of real away game of the season, right, against Melbourne City. Their only other game outside of New Zealand was your night round, which they did pick up the win against MacArthur. Although MacArthur, that's a whole nother story. Maybe they should have won that game. But Melbourne City, they're on some good form. That's the team you probably don't want to come up against at the moment if you're Auckland. A good win against Brisbane last week, and a couple of decent results over the start of the season so far. So Melbourne City, can I see them breaking that duck on the Auckland loss column? And I think I can. I'm going to go with a Melbourne City win in this one, and I think it's going to be tight. Auckland won't concede many. It's just whether, I think it's going to be a 1-0. I think it's going to be a 1-0 City. I think they're going to squeak one past, and I just don't think Auckland are going to be able to break down that defence, because Kai Truan and Cyprian at the back for City have been looking very, very decent to start this season. Kai Truan with his first season down in Melbourne City as well. So I'm going to go with a 1-0 City win. Maybe it's just me wanting to see Auckland lose and not go undefeated for so long, but I'm going to go for a Melbourne City win. I'm going to go 1-0. Make sure you drop your predictions down in the comments as well, especially for that game. I think that's going to be a real interesting one for this week. So make sure you drop all your predictions down in the comments. Make sure you do like the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Predictions are back, so I apologize for the little delay with the predictions. Live streams, they'll be coming back soon as well. And without further ado, I'll see you next time.